Okay, hi everybody. Hi Bintu Agne. Hi Gilmore Darrell. Hi, I'm Maria, and this is
Christopher.
my co-anchor. Come on in here. Okay, I brought Christopher in today because we're talking basketball. We're talking the new NBA season, and he knows more about basketball than anybody I know. And we're really excited to be talking with Jeanie Buss today. She's a historic figure in the NBA franchise, right?
Yeah, big time.
Big time, yeah. She's big time, according to Christopher. Big time. And we're super excited here. We're a Laker family, and you're super excited about the season coming back.
Yeah, definitely. Give me something to do again.
Yeah, there you go. So everybody is looking for something that will bring them hope, that will make them feel good. It's been a really tough couple of months. So I think the role of sports in our culture, super important. It's a way for people to gather as families. It's a way for people to share something, to root for something. Why is it so important for you that the Lakers come back? Or that the NBA season, I should say, comes back?
Well, I mean, basketball, I guess, is my favorite sport, so there's that. And it honestly, night times feel empty when I don't have sports to go watch. Like, it's weird. Once, 7 p.m. rolls around and there's nothing to do, I just don't even know what to do with my time. I end up going to bed at, 9 p.m. because I'm just bored.
Thanks a lot. Well, we watch Jeopardy,
That's
though.
true. We do watch Jeopardy.
Watch Jeopardy.
We have a nice set of recordings of Jeopardy, and so
That's right.
we go through those. But yeah, basketball definitely brings a lot of structure to my day if I have something to watch and stuff. So that's good.
And it helps people. I think it's something that you can communicate with your friends. It gives you something to root for. It gives you something to look forward to. And it was actually, I've known Jeanie Buss for a long time, been a big fan of hers, a woman in sports, a woman running a team. She's been really steady leader. And then obviously this has put her in an unprecedented situation. She's got a team in the bubble. Tomorrow night is opening night. All of the players have given up a lot, actually, to be in the bubble. I was reading that many of them, they're not going to see their family. Some of them have pregnant wives. Some of them, are just separated so that they can stay in the bubble. They're going to be tested every day.
Yeah, they get tested all the time, nose and mouth tested.
Oh wait, there's Jeanie Buss. She's requested. Should we say okay, Christopher? Chris, this is very exciting. Christopher wanted to join me only because it's Jeanie Buss. Only because it's Jeanie Buss. There she is. Hi, Jeanie.
Hi, can you hear me okay? This is my first Instagram Live interview, so thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm so excited. This is Christopher.
Hi, I'm Christopher.
Hi, Christopher.
Your biggest fan, and I was just trying to talk before you joined us, Jeanie, about how extraordinary I think you have been. A woman in sports, running a team through difficult times, very even, steady leadership. And then obviously in this unprecedented time that nobody's ever been through before, and what you've had to go through and how you've kept the team together. I admire you. I respect you as an owner. I respect you as a leader. And not just because, you're a woman do I root for you, but you're a leader. And so I wanted people to know that. Which they already know that. And I want you to know that I was sitting around here last week saying, who could I talk to that everybody would be interested? Oh, there's Patrick. So everybody in this house was like, could you please talk to Jeanie Buss? Do you think you could get Jeanie Buss? I said, yes, actually. She said she'd be interested.
How are you?
So this is the most excitement that anybody has had in our house, to talk to Jeanie Buss. So, Jeanie, you're sitting here the night before the opening game. We were talking about that. What are you nervous about tonight?
Well, it's all about keeping the players healthy. That's there's such anytime you're headed into the playoffs, you hope that you can avoid the injury bug. in a normal season. But now on top of it, playing during a pandemic, is just, we hope so far, we had an announcement today, the over 300 players that are in the bubble. We have 0 positive tests. So it seems to be working. But imagine if somehow the virus was able to penetrate the bubble, then I think then we're in a situation where it would spread rapidly because they're so isolated. So I guess that's my biggest concern. But let's leave that aside and let's talk about basketball. And, I like, the fact that we have, really all our players are healthy from some of the injuries that were bothering them during the first 4 months of the season. And somebody pointed out to me that we've never really seen LeBron James play after a nice 4-month layoff of competitive basketball. So it's going to be very interesting to see. And so far in the scrimmage games, he's looked phenomenal. And that's inspiring to me. Also, Anthony Davis, who, when you talk about an injury, he got poked in the eye in one of the scrimmages. And so they're trying to figure out some kind of protective eyewear for him so that he can play tomorrow. So hopefully that comes through. But really, I think that Coach Frank Vogel and our coaching staff has done a phenomenal job, considering that he's a first-year coach, that he joined us in the off season. And, he's led us. We've been basically in first place in the Western Conference, which most people will say is the toughest conference in the league. And, we'd like to continue to defend that and stay in first place as we go into the seeding games, and hopefully have an opportunity to finish the season and end up winning our very last game of the season, which means we would be the champions. So a lot to be excited about. It's certainly very different than anything we've ever experienced before, but I think our players have shown a strong willingness to continue to play the game that they love, by sacrificing so much to be away from their families, to be tested every single day for the virus. That they have been great partners in making sure that we keep everybody safe, and that we have this opportunity to finish out this season that was so abruptly stopped way back in March.
So go ahead.
I was going to say, what were the conversations like when you were talking to the players about committing to go to the bubble and give up their family time? And I know someone like Alex Caruso didn't get to go to his sister's wedding, which is obviously a huge event to miss. And how did those conversations come and get them to really get on board with the bubble idea?
Well, what's really great, and thank you for that question, because we take a lot of pride in our relationship with our players, and it was really brought to the table that we would not proceed or ask them to proceed if they didn't feel safe. That was the most important thing. And there were players that were able to opt out and given pre-existing conditions or possibly people in their family having issues, that we would never force anybody to do something that they weren't comfortable in doing. And when it came to Alex Caruso, I know exactly, because I've lived this, because my family's been involved with this team almost 40 years, that what happens is when you have a close family friend or whoever that's getting married, they say, it's really important to me that you attend my wedding. And so what you do is you say to them, well, have it during the off season, and then I'll be there because I won't have to be on the road or whatever. So she probably specifically picked that date to get married so that her brother could be at the wedding. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, as it turns out, you know, the whole world turned upside down. And, you know, it was really difficult and a huge sacrifice for him to make, because not only would he put himself in jeopardy that he could be, you know, exposed to the virus, but also what he would bring back to the bubble. And that he, being a team player, somebody who realized that his sacrifice wasn't just about him, but about everybody else. And that to me is such a great reflection of what we need in our community today, is people thinking not just of themselves, but of everybody around them, and trying to keep everybody safe as possible.
Jeanie, Adam Silver said this morning that there was a time period right after George Floyd was murdered where there was a whole debate about whether the season would even be resumed at all, that many players didn't want to come back at all. What was that like for you as an owner, trying to convince people, if you had to come back? And what are you expecting tomorrow night when they play the national anthem? Have you thought about that, discussed that?
Well, you know, when we all watched in disbelief the images of, you know, watching George Floyd die in front of cameras, is, you know, it's still upsetting. And it made us all reassess what is important to us. And I think we took time to process those emotions before we even talked about, you know, because really, if you look at the timeline with the pandemic, that, you know, that's what, you know, took us out first, was that we had one player on Utah who tested positive. And you know, our league office, our commissioner, Adam Silver, such a great leader, really saw, you know, we need to really stop and think about things before they get out of control. So we stopped the season, which I think helped other businesses by us leading the way, that this is something that we have to take seriously. And then, you know, what happened with George Floyd really caused us to stop again and reflect, you know, is this something that people want right now, to play basketball? A game sounds like it's meaningless, but as time went on and we realized that the platform that we have and the ability to talk about these things through, you know, our exposure, our platform on a national basis and international basis, that it is more than a game. And our athletes are more than basketball players. They are the leaders in their community. And, you know, we felt that it was worth fighting for and continuing to discuss, you know, bringing back the season. And, you know, we feel, and we've always been a league that encourages our players to take part in their community and to be vocal when they feel they want to be vocal, or if, you know, there are players who don't want to be in the forefront and don't want to speak. So everybody's different. We don't treat everybody as you know, just a generalization. And you know, we felt and we heard from our partners, the players, that they wanted to play. And it was our job as a league to make sure that we could do that safely in a way that would be meaningful, and to, you know, try to complete a season.
Do you anticipate any disruption tomorrow night during the national anthem when the teams come out to play? Do you anticipate people will be giving speeches? How will that be handled?
I think that, you know, I don't anticipate any disruption. You know, I think players will do whatever they feel is right for them individually. We encourage our players to stand up and speak for what they believe in. And so, you know, what they're going to do tomorrow, what each individual player is going to do, I can't answer that question, but I certainly am proud of the leadership that especially players like LeBron James have shown during these difficult times.
I was just more curious about what it's like to be like a woman in sports right now, and especially in the NBA, where I think the game is changing so much. I mean, it's so public now that the NBA supports the WNBA as well so much. There's more female coaches in the league. You see all these players with the WNBA sweatshirts on every day. I wonder if that's like the role of a woman in sports is changing right now, especially in the NBA, and how you feel like in your role.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that when I started in this business over 30 years ago, there weren't a lot of women, but I've seen so much change over the last, couple decades that women see opportunities not only to play their sport with the WNBA, but also to play roles in administration, in basketball operations. I'm proud of our league for being, at the forefront of diversity and inclusion, and, having an opportunity to have a seat at the table, and not just, here's a little thing that, the women can go have a tea party over here. No, it's the women, we have strong women in executive positions at the league office, at on teams, in broadcast. It's a much more welcoming business than when I started.
We were talking before, Jeanie, about, how difficult it is to lead a team, there's always something going on. It's like leading its own little country, right? There's highs, there's lows, there's people leaving, people coming. And you've had, as Christopher was saying to me before, this last year has been really tough, right? Magic Johnson, you said, left, who's somebody you grew up with, which must have caused huge disruption. Kobe Bryant passing away, who I know you were super close to. That was only 6 months ago. What's this year been like for you?
It has been, it's been a challenge, and the Lakers are a family business, which the majority of businesses in the U.S. are family business, family owned. So we had, when my father passed away about 7 years ago, he had put into place, it was important to him that the team stay with the family. And he had put into place, a setup that he had hoped would, continue the success for the Lakers going forward. And we kind of struggled with, the transition after he passed away. And I had to make a change with my brother, and I asked Magic Johnson if he would come and help. And he, as always, came and put the Lakers back on track. And he, through his leadership, we were able to settle down all the turbulence that was around the franchise and was keeping us from being able to compete for free agents in the free agent market. And, it's through his leadership that he put us on a journey, on the path that has brought us to where we are today. I think when he decided to step down, it was a surprise to me because he didn't have that conversation with me one-on-one. He decided that it was, best to turn in his resignation live on television. So I was hearing it at the same time everybody else was. But, that's what I love about him, is that he does wear his emotions on his sleeve. That is truly him. And while I wish it was handled maybe a little bit differently, I'm forever grateful to where he got this organization. And it's because of him that LeBron James felt comfortable to join us as a free agent. And that's what led us to where we are today, because the faith was put back into the organization. There was a lot of concern because there was this lack of leadership. So by bringing him in as the head of our basketball, it really helped. So, of course, he ended up leaving. He's still somebody that I can pick up the phone anytime and call and ask for help, and he's always there. But when we lost Kobe Bryant in January, that was a blow that I don't think I will ever recover from, because he was such a close friend, and I truly loved him with all my heart. But he was also somebody who was a mentor to me, and somebody who, again, was there anytime I needed advice, a shoulder. He was there, and I'm going to miss that terribly. And it just, it's a loss that is, it leaves a void.
Yeah, huge void. Obviously, we were talking about that. It seems like yesterday. It seems like a year ago. It seems like so much has happened in that time, and yet it still seems like it didn't actually happen. We were talking also about kind of the financial implications of COVID on a team like the Lakers. So you were saying that you make so much money by being in the stadium, by having fans there. What have been the financial implications of COVID on your team, and how do you bounce back, and how do the players play without the fans?
Well, it's interesting because we had accomplished the majority of our season. So we were lucky in that, in terms of revenue, the ticketing makes up about 40% of our total revenue. So when you take away the ticket revenue, then there's substantial loss. And in our league, the way we have collectively bargained with the players union is that we basically split all revenue 50-50. So when the revenue drops substantially, then it changes the whole economics of what the players get paid and how we operate. Now, if we would have not been able to play these games in Orlando, we are able to salvage some of the revenue from this year because of our broadcast rights. So that allows us to continue to, stay in business because we're bringing in revenue. And, but it's difficult to anticipate what's going to happen next. How is next season going to look? How is baseball going to handle an entire team testing positive? It's all of us are dealing with things we've never dealt with before. So, there's some tough conversations that have to take place because our business model doesn't provide for these kinds of uncertainties. And certainly with the leadership we have at our league office and amongst our 30 teams, and everybody, as they should, and we do, compete on the basketball court, all 30 teams. in the boardroom, we have to see each other as partners, and we have to, every team is in a different market, and every team has a different situation. There are some teams that own their own arenas. There's other teams that rent. There are teams that are in charge of multiple, hockey teams, MLS teams are owned by one ownership group. So everybody is dealing with what's going on in their other businesses besides their NBA team. So I anticipate there will be a lot of conversations that will be had, and how we come out of it. I don't know what next season's going to look like. We may be playing in a bubble again. Who knows? But what I do know is that tomorrow the Lakers will be playing a game, and it will count in the regular season standings. And, I'm excited about tomorrow, because that's one thing we can kind of count on, I guess. But who knows what will happen in the morning? Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, after going so long without making the playoffs, and now this year guaranteed to make it, what is like the feeling? Whereas now you finally made it and you can't actually go and watch it. Like, you can't go see it. You can't be with the players to celebrate it. What's that feeling like?
It's like it's torture. It's torture. I mean, it had been it's been 7 years since we've been in the playoffs, and that is in the 32 years prior, that my dad passing away, the Lakers had only missed the playoffs twice in 32 years. So to have missed 7 years in a row, it was nice to have the thought of being back in the party and getting to play. But, we'll make the best of it. Laker Nation is ready and waiting and eager to watch the team play again. And, it may not be the same, but seeing our team, which has, it's been written a lot about the chemistry that the team has, and it's real. They truly care about each other. And I think it was very uplifting for them to come back together as a team, because they were so close. And then when the pandemic hit and everybody had to stay home, isolate, I think they missed each other. And you see that that camaraderie that they developed has resurfaced back in Orlando. And people have told me that there should be one camera just on our bench, because they're so much fun to watch, and they truly get excited for each other. When one guy succeeds, they all celebrate.
Jeanie, the country is so divided, people, so many people out of work. And it seems like, and I don't think it's just in this house, but the idea that sports is coming back, it's almost like it's more important than ever. That it's something that people, like you were saying, gives them hope, gives them something to look forward to when they don't have anything.
Yeah.
You're saying that you and your friends were saying, like, your life is empty kind of without it.
Yeah, well, it's just something that obviously you can relate to everybody. I just left college and I'm not with all my friends right now, but now that sports are coming back, we're talking about stuff again more. We're like, talking every day. What are the Lakers going to do? Like, we're so excited for the NBA to come back. It's just something that brings a lot of like structure to my life and brings people together, I think.
Do you feel that kind of coming back this year feels different, not just because you're in a bubble, but people are, counting on sports to bring them something that they don't have right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think especially, after the loss of Kobe, mm-hmm. and, just trying to find, how am I gonna move forward? How am I gonna process things? And you realize how much the people that you watch games with, and that you can share those memories and make new ones, and maybe you know, if you have friends from Boston, you know, you can kind of give them a hard time. And it invites back those kind of social interactions that we were lacking. You know, it's like, you know, I'm like everybody else. I've watched more Netflix and streaming shows, and I want to see something, you know, that reflects more about what's going on now, and being able to watch the Lakers and have that, you know, chit chat with maybe some of our rivals, and you know, it just feels normal, and I think that's the human experience, and that's that we've all been so isolated, and we need, but not to like, not to the distraction of forgetting all the social the social movement that's happening in our country and around the world. You know, sports is not ever meant to you know, replace what's important, and you know, and trying to find that balance, you know, and using sports as a platform to bring us all together, and continue to learn and listen from each other, and people who don't necessarily have everything in common. It gives us a common ground.
So what sustained you as these last couple of months, which you said have been difficult? What has sustained you? What enables you to get up every day and lead this organization through unprecedented times, when you've lost one of your best friends, when you lost a person that was leading an organization that you kind of counted on, that was family in a way? How do you, as a leader, get up every day and stay calm, stay focused, and stay on task?
Well, I think, you know, Maria, you gave me such a nice introduction, and I have to say that you are an inspiration for me, because of, you know, well, your leadership, and your inspirations, and you sharing your experiences make me strong, because you don't sugarcoat the tough stuff, and that's, I find that very real, because I'm not trying to like not feel sadness over the loss of Kobe Bryant, but you know, I need to feel those emotions. And how do you not feel that you're wallowing in sorrow or sadness or isolation? You also find inspiration in that, and finding the things that are important to you. And you know, I'm not going to lie, the last few months I've you know, slept too much, because I feel, some days I feel hopeless. I felt hopeless because I didn't know if we were going to be able to have a season and finish the season. And you know, I lost my mother in December, and then David Stern passed away, the former commissioner who was a mentor to me, and then Kobe, all right in a row. And you know, I felt isolated and alone, and when I look to people that I admire, and they share the times that they've been down and the things that inspire them, you know, like I've surprised myself that all of a sudden I love flowers more than I ever loved them before. I don't know why, but they just bring me happiness. So I make sure that I always have at least one, you know, flower first thing in the morning to look at, and to realize that, you know, we just got to keep going. We just got to keep going.
So beautifully said. Thank you, Jeanie. And I think it's so important to know that there are other people also struggling that have, you know, gotten up and gone on. And you said before we came on here, boy, she's had a tough year. You mentioned David Stern, your mom, Kobe, and how we sometimes think people running big organizations don't have problems or just get up and do their job. But it's really good to know that they're human beings, just like everybody else. And they have to get up and run a huge organization while also dealing with very human issues. So I want to thank you, Jeanie, for sharing your time with us. You want to ask her any other final kind of inside basketball question that I don't know anything about?
I think I'm good. I think Lakers Nation loves you. So thank you for being such a great leader.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for doing your very first Instagram Live with us.
Thank you. And it worked. It worked. I hope someday we can sit together live and in person at a game and have this conversation and cheer on the Lakers in person. So thank you.
We would love that. Thank you, Jeanie. Thanks so much. Thank you.
Thanks.
So that is Jeanie Buss, and a real kind of pioneer in professional sports, one of the few women leading an organization, and certainly one of the most powerful women in sports. And I thought it was so beautiful that the way she said there at the end, wow, she lost her mother, she lost Kobe, she lost David Stern, and Magic resigned. And that's like a lot.
Yeah.
And then a pandemic, and then a bubble, and then, all of these kind of protests and debate about whether the season would go on. And I thought that was beautiful, the way she explained, that, kind of many days where you don't want to get up and do your job.
Yeah. I think that was really well said. And also, like, juggling, like she said, like, people don't think that the owner of a big organization has a lot of feelings and stuff, but I think basketball is there's only so many players on a team and stuff like that. So you have a relationship with everybody.
Yeah.
You have a relationship with everyone in your organization. So I think that's really hard to not bring so many emotions to the table when you're leading something like that. Also, the pressure, I can only imagine after her dad was one of the greatest owners of all time and taking on that responsibility.
Yeah.
And now throughout all of this, finally getting back to the top.
Yeah, that was good that you asked that.
Finally getting back to the top, head of the Western Conference, back in the playoffs after so many years after her dad passed away, and she must feel so proud, but also all these crazy things happen in 1 year, and it must be just a whirlwind of emotions. So it's really interesting.
Yeah, really interesting. So that's what, that's what a real leader is, someone who survives, kind of the dark parts and rises up and keeps going and resurrects their team, has relationships, listens to people, and leads. And that, boy, made it sound like a complicated job. And, it's a complicated job, but we will be here. We will be watching tomorrow night.
Definitely.
And I'm sure there's something tonight that'll happen. There's been scrimmages, but probably won't happen tonight. But anyway, I think her point was, look, at basketball, sports can bring us together. It's not a diversion, or it can be a diversion for the night, but it doesn't take the place of the really important things going on in our country. But it does have an opportunity to bring us together. And these athletes are, human beings themselves who, do far more than play basketball. So I thought she was also really good about that. So Jeanie Buss, we're going to put this up on YouTube. We're also going to put it in the Sunday paper so that you can hear an inspiring voice who is definitely inspiring hearts and minds with Jeanie Buss. And so she's strong, it says, but always comes across as really genuine and real. That's true. Somebody else is saying the Yankees are on tonight. Okay, well, that's great too. And the Dodgers have been on.
Yeah,
that's right.
Killing it.
They're killing it. So, okay, so sports is coming back, and they're doing a lot of creative things with having virtual fans. Mm-hmm. And so I'm sure that basketball, which has always been kind of very theatrical, will do something as well. So thank you for joining me.
Of course, no problem.
And asking those really good questions. And thank you all for joining us. Have a wonderful day. And thank you to Jeanie Buss. Bye-bye.